was India is Raja Harishchandra. Yes. Okay. Now it is going on live. Okay. So the first that was produced in our country, that is Raja Harishchandra, that was directed by Dada Saheb Phalke. He is considered as the pioneer of Indian cinema and father of Indian cinema. So here, the Raja Harishchandra was exhibited in the year 1913. But even though the first film that was made in 1913 in India, but the Cinematograph Act came into force only 1920 onwards after 7 years of Raja Harishchandra. But if you see the earlier films, also there were silent films which were also made and screened in India in Bombay theaters. That was the workers leaving Luminary factory that was produced by Lumiere brothers, that was screened in 1895. So that was the first silent film that was screened in India. But if you see the full length feature film in the year 1913, the Raja Harishchandra was produced by Dada Saheb Phalke, that we considered as a full length film. Uh, even the lead roles were, even the female lead roles were played by male actors in the Raja Harishchandra movie. That was a movie which portrayed the life of Raja Harishchandra in our country. And the Central Board of Film Certification that came to existence from 1952 onwards. If you see the earlier, when the films were made, that used to be regulated by the censor boards. They were originally independent bodies under the police chiefs that used to certify the films. And the Central Board of Film Certification, as generally we refer it as the CBFC. The Central Board of Film Certification. It is under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India. The CBFC is the body that regulates the public exhibition of films under the provisions of the Cinematograph Act of 1952. And films which are produced in India only can be exhibited after they are certified by the Central Board of Film Certification. And when it comes to the films that has to be transmitted through the television networks also, it has to be certified by the CBFC board. And in some kind of cases, when A certified films are made, which means the films which are only meant for adults, even though they are recertified, when it comes to screening of those films or transmission of those films through the television networks. And the films can only publicly exhibited in India after they are certified by the CBFC board. Earlier, we used to have film certification appellate tribunal. For example, there is a producer or a director of a film. If he is aggrieved by the certification by the CBFC board, for example, he thought of getting a U certified films, but if he gets a UA certification or maybe A certification for his film, etc., he used to again go to the Film Certification Appellate Tribunal for recertification of the film. So here, but in the year 2021, April, the Film Certification Appellate Tribunal was scrapped by the Indian government. Now, an aggrieved party or a filmmaker or the director or producer, if he wants to get recertification for his film uh, that is being exhibited or going to be exhibited for the different kind of audience than the certified audience by the CBFC, then he has to approach only High Court for recertification. The bill, there is a amendment bill that is proposed by the central government that is still pending. It is not yet passed. Okay. Then if you see the censor boards, originally they were censor boards under the police chiefs. Then after the India got independence in the year 1947, the autonomous regional censors or censor boards, which were under the police chiefs, were absorbed into Bombay Board of Film Censors. Then after that, the Cinematograph Act of 1952 came into existence, and then the Bombay Board of Film Censors were reorganized. The Bombay Board of Film Censors as the Central Board of Film Censors. And later on, in the year 1983, the cinematograph rules were revised, and after the cinematography rules were revised, the Central Board of Film Censor was again renamed as the Central Board of Film Certification. Yes. Okay. So the again after the cinematograph rules were revised in the year 1993, the Central Board of Film Censors were renamed as the Central Board of Film Certification, and the present whatever the board we have is the Central Board of Film Certification. That is the organization body which is regulating the public exhibition of films in India, and that also the body which provides certification to film to be exhibited in our country. And if you see the cinematograph Act of 1923. Now, just now I said this CBFC is a film certification body under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting of Government of India. The present chairperson or chairman of the CBFC board is Prasoon Joshi. He took over charge as the chair of the CBFC board in the year 2017, and he is still in position. And the CBFC board consists of a chairman, a chairperson, and there are 23 other members, all of whom are appointed by the central government. And President Joshi now chairs the board. And Joshi became the 28th chairperson. He took over charge as the chairperson of the CBFC board on 11th August 2017 after Pankaj Nihlani. Then if you see the CBFC board, it has its headquarters in Mumbai, and it also has 9 regional offices at Trivandrum, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai, Qatar, Guwahati, and New Delhi and Kolkata. Under the provisions of the Cinematograph Act, the films which are made to be publicly exhibited are certified by the CBFC board under four categories. Earlier, when there used to be only two categories of films used to be certified by the CBFC board. One is U certification and the other one is A certification. But two more were added to the existing two certificates. Those are UA certificates are only meant for specialized audience like scientists, doctors, engineers, etc. And along with the four kinds of certificates which are issued by the CBFC board, board also may refuse to certify a film. And when it comes to the television, generally after making certain kind of changes in the certificates and by cutting some visual scenes, etc., the films are again certified by B by U, B by A, B by A as for the video releases with U, UA, and A carrying the same meaning as the when it comes to the four kinds of certificates that are issued by the CBFC board, the first category of certificate is U certificate that is being issued by the CBFC board. It is meant for unrestricted public exhibition and they are family-friendly films. And these films can contain universal themes like education, family, drama, romance, science fiction, and action, etc. And these films can contain some mild violent scenes, but it should not be prolonged. It may also contain very mild sexual scenes without any traces of nudity or sexual in detail. These U-certified films can be watched each and every person in our country. Children, youngsters, adults, or aged persons, anyone can watch those kind of films. When it comes to UA certification certified films, these films are called films with UA certification or can contain moderate adult themes that is not so strong in nature and can be watched by a child who is who is above the 12 years of age under the parental guidance. And these films also can contain moderate to strong violence, moderate sexual scenes, traces of nudity, and moderate sexual in detail also can be found in these kind of films. And frightening scenes or muted abusive language also the films may contain. When it comes to A certified films, it is only meant for the adults, not for the children. Here, the films with A certification are only available for public exhibition, but it is only restricted to adults, those who are above the 18 years of age. These films can contain violence, explicit or strong sexual scenes, abusive language, but words which insult or degrade women or any social group or nudity, they are not allowed. And some controversial and adult themes are considered unsuitable for young viewers. Such films are often recertified with V by U, V by UA for television or video viewing, which does not happen in the case of U certified and UA certified movies. So, which means A certified films can be again when it is going to be transmitted through the television networks, etc. Those are again certified as a V by UA and V by U. But in case of U certified, UA certified films, that is not been there. The same can be transmitted for the audience, for the television audience. When it comes to the S certificate, the S certificate is being provided to the films which can be only exhibited for a specialized audience like engineers, doctors, scientists, and they have permission to watch those kind of films. And in addition to the four kinds of certificates, issued by the CBFC board, the CBFC also can uh, refuse to certify a film. The board guidelines, if you see, what are the guidelines which are issued by the CBFC board? Antisocial activities such as violence may not be glorified and criminal acts may not be depicted, and involvement of children in violent acts or abuse, the abuse or ridicule of the physically or mentally handicapped, unnecessary depictions of cruelty to animals, and gratuitous violence, cruelty, or horror should not be presented. No scenes encouraging alcohol consumption, drug addiction, smoking, etc., should not be encouraged. But even though you have scenes in the films, you have to scroll a statement saying that consumption of alcohol and smoking is injurious to health. And no vulgarity, obscenity, depravity, tenderness, scenes degrading women, including sexual violence, should be avoided as much as possible. No denigration by race, religion, or other social group. No promotion of sectarian, obscurantist, anti-scientific, and anti-national attitudes should be promoted. And relation with foreign countries should not be affected with the films. No national symbols or emblems except in accordance with the emblems and names. Prevention of improper use Act of 1950. Based on that only, the symbols, emblems have to be used in the films. And when you see the controversies, before we get into the controversies, there are, if you want to make an application with the CBFC board for getting a certification for your film, etc., you have to make an application with the CBFC board in a proper manner based on the directives of the CBFC board. So here, so in case of you are making an application, your application has to for certification of your film for public exhibition has to be made in writing, and that application has to be addressed to the board, and it should be delivered to the regional officer, and application along with the fee that has to be paid by the producer, director, or a filmmaker, and 8 copies in case of feature films and 5 copies in case of other films. Along with that, synopsis of the film, along with that credit titles, full text of the songs, reel numbers, and 1 copy of the shooting script, statement showing the reel-wise length of the film that has to be provided along with the application. And if a film that is being made in a regional language, again, 8 copies of the translation in English or Hindi, synopsis, full text of the songs, 1 copy of the dialogues, and that has to be provided to the CBFC board along with the application for examination of the films. And here, for examining the film, the central board may constitute the Central Board of Film Certification will constitute a examining panel for examination of the film on the receipt of application from the regional officer. The CBFC board would appoint an examining committee to examine the film, and the names of the examining committee should not be disclosed at any case. And after examining the film, the board may sanction the film for unrestricted public exhibition like use certification, or it can be watched by a child below the age of 12 under the parental guidance UA certification, or it can be certified for adults like 18 plus audience, and like a certification that can be given to only specialized audience like doctors and others. So here the board also may reject a film for certifying. And under the provisions of the Cinematograph Act, uh, the board, the CBFC board would function for a term of 3 years, and the chairman of the board will hold office for a term of 3 years. Along with that, till the next chairman takes over charge as the chairman of the CBFC board. When it comes to the members of the CBFC board, they also would serve for a period of 3 years, which would not exceed uh, and uh, a retiring member or a member whose term of the office is expired, and he may be eligible for reappointment as a member of the CBFC board. So here, as just now we have discussed that we also have regional offices, uh, 9 centers in India. The CBFC has its regional offices. To these 9 regional offices are assisting the CBFC board in examination of the films by advisory panels. The members of advisory panels are nominated by the central government by drawing people from different walks of life for a period of 2 years. And the CBFC board functions with its headquarters in Mumbai. Along with that, it has 9 regional offices. When you see the controversies, the board is sometimes involved in controversies, and many of the time the producers, according to officials, etc., the CBFC board members also bribed by these filmmakers or producers or other persons to get a certification. For example, a certified film to get a US certification or EU certification, so that they are exempted from paying the entertainment tax. If you see in 2002, War and Peace, documentary film that was directed by Anand Patwardhan that depicted the nuclear weapons testing and the September 11 attacks. It was edited 21 times before the film was approved for release by the CBFC. According to part one, the cards the board asked for are so ridiculous and they won't hold up in court. And later, film maker and CBFC chair Vijay Anand proposed legalizing the exhibition of X-rated films in selected cinema halls. Anand said, porn is shown in India, but later on, the best way to fight, etc. And resigned later or in a less than a year after becoming the chairperson in the wake of his proposal. And the board, the CPFC board also refused to certify Gulabi Aina, a film about Indian transsexuals produced and directed by Sridhar Rangavan. In the year 2003, Rangavan unsuccessfully appealed the decision twice. Although the film is banned in India, it has been screened in UK. And Final Solution, another documentary made in 2004 that examined the religious riots between the Hindus and Muslims in Gujarat, where more than 1,000 people were killed. It was also banned. According to the board, the film was highly provocative and may trigger communal violence. That is why the film was not certified. And after a sustained campaign, the ban was lifted in October 2004. Then the CBFC demanded 5 cuts from the 2011 American film The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo because of the nudity and rape scenes. The producers and the director, David Fincher, eventually decided not to release the film in our country. And again, CBFC was in controversy when CBFC chairperson Leela Sampson resigned in protest political interference in the board's work in 2015 after its decision to refuse certification of the film MSG, The Messenger. Uh, then Urta Punjab, the another film which was produced in 2016. It was produced by Anurag Kashyap and Ekta Kapoor. Inspired a list of 94 cuts and 13 pointers, including an order to remove Punjabi city names. The film was approved for release with 1 cut and disclaimers by the Bombay High Court. A copy of the film was leaked in online, which with evidence indicating possible CBFC involvement. And Lipstick Under My Burqa, the it was made in 2017, directed by Alankrita Srivatsava and produced by Prakash, was originally denied certification. The film, which had been screened at international film festivals, was eligible for the Golden Globe Awards. The filmmakers appealed the board film certification appellate tribunal, which authorizes release. This is about your CBFC board. If an examiner asks you to write about the CBFC board and Cinematograph Act of 1952, the Cinematograph Act came into existence in the year 1952. But the first film was made in India was Raja Harishchandra, that was released in 1913. It was directed by Dada Saheb Phalke. Then, even though after 7 years of the first film, the Cinematograph Act came to existence, the censor boards were constituted in 1920s to regulate the films that were under the police chiefs. Later on, after India became independent, these censor boards were again reconstituted as the Bombay Board of Film Censors. Then, after the Cinematograph Act came into existence in 1952, the board was again reconstituted as the Central Board of Film Censors. And after that, the year 1983, the CBFC rules, cinematography rules were revised in the year 1983, and then the Bombay Board of Film, the Central Board of Film Censors were renamed as the Central Board of Film Certification. And if you see the categories of films which are certified by the CBFC board, the 4 categories of films are certified by the CBFC board for exhibition of films in our country. And only after the films are certified by the CBFC, then only the films can be screened or exhibited in our country. So here, based on the provisions of the Cinematograph Act of 1952, the films would be certified under 4 categories, and also along with that, a film also can be restricted, or it cannot, it also may be refused by the board not to certify. So the 4 categories of films which are certified by the CBFC board are U certification, US certification, A certification, and S certification. U certified films are family friendly films where it is being given to a film for unrestricted public exhibition. And UA films are certified uh, where the children under the age of 12 can watch the films with under the parental guidance. Then you have A certified films. It is only meant for the adults, those who are above 18 plus age group. And then when it comes to the S certified films, these films are made for the specialized audience like doctors, engineers, or maybe any other professionals. And these certified films can be only shown to those audience to whom the film is made. And after that, the board also may refuse to certify a film which is against the provisions or guidelines of the CBFC board. And the CBFC at present has its headquarters in Mumbai, and it has 9 regional offices to certify the films for exhibition in our country. This is about your CBFC board. Uh, yes, how much time? We have another 20 minutes. We'll discuss so we'll also discuss civil and political rights. So as part of the fundamental rights, we also have discussed so each and every citizen, as we have Article 21 of the Indian Constitution that speaks about the right to life. Each and every right, whether it is a fundamental right or other fundamental right or civil right or the civil rights, political rights, and other rights, human rights, everything is part of your right to life. And the civil and political rights of every citizen are a class of rights that protects the individual's freedom from infringement by government, social organizations, or also private individuals. They ensure us to participate in civil and political life of the society without any kind of discrimination by the society or the individuals in the society. The civil rights ensures people's physical and mental safety or mental integrity. It protects the life, safety from all forms of discrimination. It includes based on the sex, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, national or national origin, color, age, political affiliation, ethnicity, religion, and disability, which means individuals are should not be discriminated, and civil rights guarantees them the right to all kinds of uh, the right to ensure their physical and mental safety, and to ensure them from any other kind of discrimination. And political rights includes natural justice before the law, and rights of an accused, we are accused in a case, fair trial, due process, and also to seek legal remedies, like we can approach the High Court or Supreme Court for a violation of our rights, and participation in civil society and also politics, and freedom to form associations or any political organizations or any societies, etc. Right to assemble freely, without any kind of restrictions, and right to petition in a court for protecting our rights, right to self-defense, and right to vote. That is, right to vote is guaranteed uh, as a fundamental right to adult franchise. So even the UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that speaks about the rights what we have as what we call them as human rights, which India is also part of the body that protects the human rights of citizens in our country. And we have other international covenants and civil political rights, etc., that also protects the rights of the individuals. If you see the civil rights, the first right to life, even it is a fundamental right, which is stated under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, that we have right to life is a basic civil right of each and every citizen. And without this right, no safety is provided for an individual in the society, and it is the responsibility of state to protect the life of the each and every citizen in the society. And however, the right to life does not mean that we can and we have a right to end our life or commit suicide. Again, suicide is also considered as a crime against the society and on the self. And Article 21 guarantees as a fundamental right that no person shall be deprived of his life and personal liberty except according to the procedure that is established by law. And it secures two rights, that is right to life and right to personal liberty or personal freedom. And based on the again the Article 21, Article 21A is incorporated with the 86th Amendment to the Constitution in the year 2002, that provides free and compulsory education to the children between the age group of 6 to 14 years. And the act was passed in the year 2009, that we call it as the Right to Education Act. And the Right to Education Act is implemented or which came into force from April 1st, 2010. And right to education is also a fundamental right of every citizen under Article 21A of the Indian Constitution. It is also a civil right. And right to information also declared as a fundamental right of every citizen in this country. It should is protected under Article 19, 1A of the Indian Constitution, and Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, that is right to life, and Article 19, 1A is the right to freedom of speech and expression. And right to privacy. On August 24th, 2007, the Supreme Court of India declared right to privacy as a fundamental right of every citizen in this country, as it is integral part of right to life under Article 21 of the Constitution. Right to family, family life is one can marry a person of his choice and produce children, but the state has imposed certain laws to regulate the family welfare, and by law, bigamy, polygamy, polyandry, etc. are banned, and each person have also rights to divorce, right to property, rights of family, children, and succession rights also. And right to education, just now we have discussed that under Article 21A of the Indian Constitution, right to education is also has become a fundamental right of every citizen in this country, and it came into force from April 1st, 2010. Right, education is also a basic right, civil right of human being. It is as a basic right like air, food, and water. And it is the duty of the state to provide free and compulsory education to the children. And under the Constitution, under fundamental duties also, it was added to the fundamental duties of every citizen under the 11th the fundamental duty, where a parent or a guardian has a right to provide proper facilities for uh, their education of their ward or children. The right to personal freedom. We, as a citizen in this country, there are six freedoms are granted under Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. Those freedoms includes the right to personal freedom. It is also a civil right of a citizen in this country, and right to personal freedom and mental or physical growth of an individual is necessary. But that does not mean that individual can do whatever he likes. Uh, the right to freedom comes under the fundamental rights, but it is enshrined in the Constitution of India. The six fundamental rights are mentioned in the Constitution as seen essential to the functioning of Indian democracy. Article 19, it is freedom of speech and expression is guaranteed under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution. Then right to form associations, right to assemble peacefully without any other weapons, to form associations or unions, cooperatives, etc. And individual freedom to live with dignity, freedom of movement throughout the country without any kind of restrictions, freedom to reside anywhere in the country, and freedom to choose any kind of profession, and freedom of employment. That is also a considered, all of them are included under the right to personal freedom, and all these rights are also guaranteed under Article 19 of the Constitution, where you will have all these freedoms as a fundamental rights. And Article 20 regulates the protection of citizens when punishing under the criminal offences. 21 is right to life and personal liberty or personal freedom, except in accordance with the law that is established by the country. And people have right to live with dignity. Article 21(a), right to education, it is a fundamental right again. Then we have provision under Article 22 that protects if a person is arrested and in any of the cases, he has a right to consult a lawyer, and he has to be produced before the magistrate near any magistrate within the 24 hours from the time of arrest. And right to religious freedom, as India is a democratic and secular country where all the citizens have right to religion, which means an individual can choose any kind of religion of their choice, and they can profess, they can promote, they can attend a prayer of their choice, etc. Uh, and the state does not impose any religion on the individuals. Like under Article 25 of the Constitution, we have freedom of conscience and free profession, practice, propagation of any religion. We have right to freely profess, practice, and propagate any religion. And under Article 26 of the Constitution, freedom to manage religious, that is also guaranteed by the Constitution. Again, it is also a civil right. Right to freedom of thought and expression under Article 21 of under Article 19(1) of the Constitution. Again, it is a fundamental right, and it is also the right of a citizen when he or she is born into the society or in a state. Right to freedom of speech and expression is also a civil right, fundamental right of the citizen. Right to freedom of movement, it is also a fundamental right and it is also a civil right. Every citizen has a right to move throughout the country without any restrictions. And citizens also have right to go abroad. However, certain areas which are prohibited by law, in those kind of areas, nobody can enter or they cannot wander or maybe pass over the vicinity of a restricted area. And freedom of the press, based on the right to freedom of speech and expression under Article 19(1)(a), individuals also have freedom of the press. An individual can uh, establish their own newspapers or magazines, or they can have a television stations, etc. Abide by the rules of the government. Then they also have a right to criticize the government or its functioning, etc. And the freedom of the press is considered as even a fundamental right of the citizens. They can express their views without any restrictions. But the reasonable restrictions are laid down under the freedom of speech and expression or freedom of the press under Article 19(2) of the Constitution. Anywhere it affects the interests of the sovereignty and unity of the country, security of the state, friendly relations with foreign state, public order, decency and morality, or in relation to contempt of court, defamation, or incitement to an offense. Then right to equal, Article 14 of the Constitution speaks that all the citizens in this country are equal before the law, and they have to enjoy this right to equality without any kind of discrimination on the basis of caste, race, religion, sex, place of birth, etc. And equality before law is being provided under Article 14. It is a fundamental right of every citizen in this country, guaranteed by the Constitution. Prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of religion, caste, race, sex, place of birth under Article 14. Equality of opportunity in matters of public employment that is given under Article 16. Abolition of untouchability, Article 17. Abolition of titles under Article 18. And right to justice, again, it is a fundamental right. We have a right against right against exploitation. Those are guaranteed again under Articles 23 and 24 of the Indian Constitution. And even the weak and poor people in this country, along with others, have the right to get justice and to ensure the rights of the citizens in this country. We have High Court, Supreme Court. We also have human rights commissions to protect the rights of the individuals in this country. And even Article 24 that prohibits the employment of children, those who are below the age of 14 years, and in factories and mines, and also any other hazardous jobs. And freedom to form association, it is also a fundamental right and civil right to fulfill certain socio-economic and political cultural needs. Citizens can form their own associations, and the state will not impose any restrictions. Right to cultural freedom, again, it is us in a secular democratic country. Citizens also have right to cultural freedom. They can, they are free to develop their languages, practice any customs, practice speak in any language, or any folk, and promote their literature, culture, and also traditions. Right to contract, as it is also a citizen's civil right. They can enter into the contract with any of other organizations or individuals to fulfill their socio-economic and political needs. And when it comes to your economic rights, right to work, it is for the well-being of an individual. he to fulfill certain needs of a person, uh, he has a right to work, and for working in any of the institution, or he also have a right to adequate wages. The person has not only have the right to work, but also to uh, the right to be paid adequate wages for his labor, and right to property. It is individual right. Even the right to property is not a fundamental right. An individual can buy or save his wealth or money, and he can purchase immutable or movable property. And property contributes towards the growth of culture and civilization. Right to property is also a natural right of every citizen. A right to rest. When a person is working in any of the institutions, government, etc., he also have a right to rest and right to leisure. A minimum of 8 hours a day is allowed to work for a person in any other institution. And right to economic and social security. And the state has a uh, responsibility to protect the economic and so provide economic and social security for the citizens in the country. Right to fixed hours of work. Individuals are entitled to have a fixed hours of work, and nobody should be forced to work more than the hours which are mentioned in their agreements when working in the organizations. And when it comes to your political rights, right to vote, it is also again a fundamental right. Right to adult franchise, where every citizen after attaining the age of 18 years, they have right to vote and elect their own public representatives. And to be get elected, right to get elected, a citizen also can participate in democratic system, and he can also contest and have a right to be elected as a head of the municipal corporation, or head of the panchayat, or maybe MLA or MP, uh, based on the guidelines. A right to hold public office. An individual also have a right to hold public officer after getting elected as a representative of the public. Right to petition. For fulfilling his rights or for protecting his rights, he can also move uh, to the courts to secure his rights. Right to form political parties, as we have freedom to form associations. Even the same way, the individuals also have right to form their political parties to participate in the electoral process of the state or center. And right to criticize. In a democratic country, we have every right to criticize the politics or the government, and it is also through the exercise of this right the government is made responsible. Right to oppose the government, it is also the citizens' right. They can oppose the government for their actions when they fail to protect the interests of the citizens in the country. And resistance has to be peaceful and by constitutional means, uh, abide by the laws which are enacted in the country to protect the rights of the citizens and to enforce the law and order, etc. To abide by that, you can also peacefully demonstrate or criticize the government for their actions, etc. So these are the civil, political, and economic rights of the citizens in this country. So I will be stop sharing the content, and hope this is the last class of your elective. I'm leaving the session. Thank you.